right.
Ready to rock?
Yep.
So Chris Hauth, back in the house. Last time I saw you, we were sitting in a hotel room, not dissimilar from the... We always do this in hotel rooms. Now we're in Santa Monica. Last time I saw you, we were in Stockholm, fresh off our experience. And I wore this...
still saying it like
that. I think that's right.
You've got it down.
I know. And I wore this special T-shirt for you today.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
A fan sent this to me. Custom made. On the front are the GPS coordinates for the start of the race, and on the back are the finish line
right on.
coordinates. Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool, right? So
yeah, and then you got
and
that.
It says that on there. So anyway, I'm gonna have to get you one of these.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can hit her up for a second one.
Well, you sent me something really awesome. You got it. Frame
cool.
picture. I got it over the weekend. I was sick last week, so I was so out of it. So here I am saying thank you right here. You sent me an amazing sort of picture frame full of pictures from the race, the map of the race, and signed it and so on. It's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that, but I can't take full credit for that because that was made by a fan who made two of those.
Right on.
One for me, and I sent that one to you.
Well, whoever that is, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
The name escapes me at the moment, but I will find out. I will properly thank
yes, and I need to send an email properly to thank
in the
too.
show notes. But yeah, it was pretty cool, right?
Very it's cool. Really cool.
So we're back here for another edition of Coach's Corner, and we have some cool stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about off-season training. We're heading into the winter months. How do you stay enthusiastic about your fitness? How do you stay fresh and connected mentally, physically, and emotionally with your athletic journey?
Athletic goals, they seem so far away right now. It's October. Basically one of the last days of October. Mm-hmm. And in order to project out what April and May will feel like, it feels so far away right now, and staying motivated. The days are getting shorter. The weather's changing. And so it's hard. And so however we can help communicate what we're doing as well, because we're sort of in between events and we don't really know what we're doing next. And that's part of it. It's as a community understanding we need to stay motivated.
Right. I think the first thing is we have to acknowledge that we're in Southern California. And I'll be the first to admit how soft that has made me when the days get shorter and it's just a little bit colder in the morning and it gets darker a little bit earlier. My motivation wanes pretty quick. Like it's just hard to get up out of bed when it's dark out and it's 40 plus degrees. So I can't even imagine, staring down the barrel of, a snowy morning in sub-zero temperatures like a lot of people are going to be contending with in the not too distant future. So it's tough. It's really hard to maintain that level of motivation when the sun's not shining and the weather's not bright.
Yeah, and it's important to also give yourself a little bit of a break in those times, because it's about consistency. It's not about overdoing it. You don't want to stay super focused. As I was telling an athlete earlier today, it's about being 80% there. Mm-hmm. Take that 20% edge off that you're super focused on, whether it's nutrition or how you're sleeping and how you're training and all the attention to detail that you look for. Instead, be consistent, stay connected, and have a focused outcome for that month and that next month, so that you're still progressing somewhat, but you're not literally on it every day. And
yeah, one of the things that happens to me after a big event typically is I want nothing to do with working out for a little while. And I think part of that's healthy. Like you need a break, mentally as much as physically. So putting some time and distance between, that intense period of time, I think is appropriate. But then it makes it that much harder to get back into it. I had a different experience after Sweden. I remained enthusiastic about being fit because it had been 5 years since I had competed, and it really did take me a long time to get back into form. And I was like, I'm not letting this go again. It took too long to climb back up that ladder. And yet nonetheless, and I went right back, I took maybe, 10 days of doing close to nothing, but then got back into a consistent rhythm with the workouts that you were sending me. But I've been far from perfect. Like I've been traveling and I miss here and there, but it's a different reaction to missing a workout. Like because I'm not signed up for anything right now and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing next, although that may change pretty soon. To be like, okay, so I missed it, like no big deal, as opposed to, 8 weeks out from Otillo thinking, oh man, I can't miss a day. So it's a different response to not being perfect.
It is. And I mean, there's two reactions to it after an immersive event like an Otillo, right? Where you would want to stay away from it for a little bit and just want to give your body and your mind a break. But many people come back from whether it's an Ironman, an Ultra, something like Otillo, and they're so motivated and they're so excited because it was such an incredible, impactful experience that they want to train again right away. And that's when your mind and your body sort of separate, right? You're motivated, but your body's not yet. And you have to give yourself some time to get those two in sync again. And recovery and the proper fueling to get those two back on the same railroad tracks takes a few weeks. And a lot of people try to start up again too quickly and they fizzle out. And that's when the motivation really gets hurt, because then your body's disconnected from your motivation.
Right.
And then in 4 or 5 weeks from now, you really go off the rails. So you have to manage yourself very carefully after the event, knowing I got to reward myself with some downtime and I've got to reward my body with some downtime. Otherwise, in 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, I'm going to fizzle out even worse.
But it's tricky because you want to harness that motivation when you have it, because momentum is so important. And if you just let go of that and say, we'll revisit this in 8 weeks, and then when 8 weeks goes by, that motivation has been eclipsed with, the sun setting too soon now and the cold mornings and cold nights.
It's the best time to formulate your plan, though. In those weeks where the motivation is high, but you don't have to train it, you can start writing out your plan. You can start working into, well, I want to do strength. I want to stay connected like this. You even came back and said, I'm missing a bunch of type of strength work that I felt was missing, or I really want to start incorporating this. So together with your coach, or with me in this case, we start formulating a plan, or you sort of give me homework to come back and say, all right, this is what we're going to do the next 6 weeks. And then as the big training comes back in, you'll have that platform to work off of.
Right.
But it's a great time for that.
Yeah, in the wake of Otillo, that was one thing that was very clear to me, is that I was lacking a significant amount of functional strength, and that event required so much of it: the scrambling on all fours and the bending down and the sort of hauling yourself up these rocks and all of that took a huge toll on me, and I was not prepared for that, nor did I train for it, and it made me realize how much I'd been overlooking that critical aspect of what it means to be truly fit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I just want to run and go out on trails and be on my bike. And as important as I know it is to be, sound in a whole body context and strong, I just was not attending to that. And so you've put me on, over the last several weeks, a pretty challenging, on paper, it looks easy. It looks so easy.
Yes.
Challenging routine of functional body exercises that are as simple as like planks and air squats and some lunges and things like that without any weights. You've just started giving me a few kettlebell exercises and things like that I'm doing with very low weight. And it's amazing how sore it makes me, and how like sort of crushing it is, just doing a series of air squats and I can't walk for like 3 days.
And that's part of the 5-year rebuild we were on, right? We got you sort of fit again from an aerobic capacity and with the runs that you've been doing, and now we're adding in more cycling, but now we're going deeper. We're peeling that onion back a little bit more and working on the functional strength and so on. The other thing is, it's nice for you is that I'm doing that on purpose, because you're traveling. You can technically do a lot of this in any hotel gym.
Yeah.
And
you don't even need the gym for 90% of what you're giving me. You could just do it in any, 4 foot by 4 foot space.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to stay away from that, though. You don't want to start working out in your hotel rooms as you're on the road too much. We want to get you outside a little bit more.
And it takes a lot to get me in the gym. I'm not a gym rat. But the winter months, that's the time, right?
Yeah.
This is the time where you can create that strength base.
And it's a little bit of variety too, because you're doing something different. You're activating different muscles. You're seeing different people. You're in a different environment. It does help a lot of people with their motivation, actually. It puts them where other people are, and you feed off of that. And so getting to the gym 2-3 times a week on these darker months is a great time to sort of re-engage also with the social aspect of working out. And then mix in some cycling, mix in some running, mix in some swimming is great with regards to functional strength. As you've been doing that, I bet you if you go in the pool afterwards, the first 1,500 or 2,000 are just swimming with stubs. But it just connects you to everything that you just activated.
And most of these, if not all of these exercises, are really pivot around core strength.
Yes.
Fundamentally. And I can tell you from experience, I know what it feels like in the pool, running, and on the bike when my core is strong versus when it's not. I don't think that it was very strong this past season, but when it is strong, like even if you're just doing 15 minutes, 4 times a week or 3 times a week, and you're doing that consistently over 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, you could feel the difference.
Yeah.
The strength in your stroke, like just your, what you're able, just from your body position all the way down the line, it is incredibly noticeable. Makes a huge difference.
And a big part, whether it's swimming, biking, or running, what separates our work muscles, legs in the case of running and biking, with how our form is, upper body, is all the core. And if we can attach the two working parts of our bodies with better stability and better strength, it's incredible how long that carries us and it avoids injury. Mm-hmm. And then swimming, of course, we're working upper body, but we want to keep things sort of smooth with the lower body, with our hips falling or snaking through the water. And if you have a strong core, you can keep alignment as well. And so it all starts from the middle before you do all the exercises of swim, bike, and run, right? But we often overlook that.
People without a lot of experience in swimming believe, or sort of mistakenly believe, that you're generating power from your arms and your shoulders and your lats.
And hips.
To some extent you are, but it's really coming from the core. And it's not just injury prevention and technique. It's that you're able to maintain your form when you start to fatigue.
Longer,
you're able to maintain your running form. You're able to generate power from your core when you're climbing on a bike, and certainly in the pool. Yeah, it's huge.
And it's again, it's the anchor of everything we do. It starts at the center, and if it's strong there, you can start working on actually improving your running form. A lot of people focus on their shoes or on their foot placement because their back hurts or so on. But then we take a closer look and you notice they have no core and no stability coming from the core. So the load of the impact of the ground, let's say running, 40 times your body weight, is all being lost in the middle because nothing is stabilizing it.
Right. I know, but I hate doing it so much.
Yeah.
It's the worst, right?
Yep. And it's a lot of repeats where we are currently. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of repetition, and you're like another set and another set and another set. So
if somebody's listening to this and they're time crunched, but they want maybe 3 or 4 or 5 core exercises that they can work into their routine, what are at the top of your list?
Well, I really like those founders that we've been doing lately, where if you look up a standing founder or a kneeling founder on Google or on the internet, you'll find that pretty quickly. But it aligns your entire body, and it requires you to maintain your core structure. I like those rows that we do with from a sit-up perspective type, where you're extending your legs and sort of rowing your arms at the same time while maintaining your core, because again, it keeps the whole chain activated. And movement while you're doing core is really important because you want to get all those support muscles and stabilizers going as well. So just sitting in one spot doing sit-ups, while that's good, you want to create more movement and rotation around that to, again, really create, whether it's from the 4-pack to the 6-pack, the 6-pack to the 8-pack. I mean, my daughter's a gymnast, and watching her do some of the core exercise, it's ridiculous. I couldn't even imagine, right? Couldn't even come close to keeping up with her.
Yeah, my experience is that you start really slow. Like I start with doing less than you advised because I want to nail the technique. Like my form has to be perfect. That comes above everything else. And if I'm doing it consistently, I know that I'll build up quickly. Like the strength comes quick when you're doing it consistently. But you got to make sure that your technique is dialed in and you're not just jerking yourself around just to say that you did that many reps. And if you're doing it properly, you don't need to do that much if you haven't been doing it, before, and you're going to feel the hurt big time.
I mean, some of those bridges that we do, holding them for 30 seconds is The longest 30 seconds of the entire workout.
No, I know. And
I must be counting wrong. Something's wrong
Yeah,
here.
it's crazy. And you send me the workout, so I'm looking at it on my phone on Training Peaks, and I'm at the gym, and like I don't even know what these words mean, like Jane Fonda's and like what are these crazy kettlebell? I don't even. There's weird terminology. So I'm like, I see that, and then I'm like, okay, now I got to go to YouTube and like watch a guy do this to figure out what I'm supposed to do. So it's taking me like 3 times as long to do it because I'm trying to learn as I go. That's how new to this I am. Like, but it's so important. I'm already seeing the results.
And it's an investment because we're going to do 6 to 8 weeks of this phase, and then we're going to have a platform we go off of from there where we'll use more kettlebells, medicine balls, we'll do our stretch cords and things like that to keep getting you stronger from the inside out. And the important thing also, and this is harder for the time-crunched athlete, but to then do the motions that you're focused on for your discipline, for your sport, afterwards on a tired body, to focus on clean form, light running, for example, high cadence cycling with an easy gear, just to feel everything engaged and fatigued from the strength that you just did, from the stability that you just did, and notice, wow, there's my stomach muscles as part of my cycling form.
Right. So these gym exercises, these core exercises, they never come after the swim, bike, run workout. They always go before.
Always.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, you find another 15, 30 minutes after to swim, bike, or run, or row, or whatever your discipline is that you're getting ready for.
Mm-hmm. I like this idea of kind of adhering to the circadian rhythms of your body and the seasons. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, nutritionally and just in terms of behavior habits. It's something that I think we've moved too far away from in our culture. Because you're right, there's no way you can maintain that level of focus and motivation year round. And the last thing you want is to come into July or August or whatever your big race is, burned out.
Well, it's also sustainability with regards to your life, family, your career, right? You can't continue to maintain this singular focus on one thing while the other stuff keeps sitting on the back burner. Or you keep pushing, not negatively away, and I'm not saying that in as if people are completely overlooking it, but you're trying to balance all three very carefully, and sometimes things do take bigger priority. And this is the time of year to exhale and accept that and have fun with it. I tell a lot of athletes, this is the time of year you cycle where you've passed roads before and you've been curious. I wonder what's up that road. Or that you take your family to hike on some of the runs, the far places that you've run to, right? In order to just sort of include and exhale a little bit so that when the hard months come and the motivation is not there, but you really need to push through, you have a way to look back and go, you know what? I gave back then. I backed off a bit. Now is time to hunker down.
I just had that experience the other day because when I go out for a trail run, I have my 4 or 5 favorite ones that I like to go to because I know exactly what to expect. I know where they lead and how long it's going to take me.
It's measurable, therefore, too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good training.
But there's so many other trails around me that I've never visited because I don't want to, when I have a key workout I'm trying to nail, I don't want to hit a trail I've never been on before and find out it ends like 200 meters into the run or something like that. Like I don't want to take that risk. So just the other day I went down pretty close to my house, this place called Paramount Ranch. All these trails down there, and it goes through this old western town where they film TV shows. And I was like, I cannot believe I've never been here before. Like, it's literally down the street because I don't want to make that bargain. But this was like, this is a time to do it. It's an easy run. I'll just go and explore and have fun.
It's a rewarding process at this time of year. Yeah. And in general, as the motivation gets lower and things get harder and the events are so far off and we don't know what to focus on, besides those short-term goals that we said at the end of the month, it's staying connected with your body. That you get to know yourself well enough that you can say, you know what? Sure, I fatigue quicker or I'm not as powerful, but I'm not far off. I'm healthy. I'm connected to my body. And once the warmer days come or once I have an event, I can start building the plan and focusing back on that. But for now, I'm staying connected. That's the important piece.
One of the things that I butt up against or experience in the off season is and this is when I'm not working with you, is decision fatigue, right? Okay, there's no key race coming up. There's nothing specific that I'm training for. So for people who aren't working intimately with a coach, what is your suggestion in terms of how they approach these months, these weeks, when there isn't a lot of structure, to avoid that pitfall of waking up, well, do I do this? Do I do that? Like, that just doesn't work for me,
Yeah.
And then you're just walking around like burning all this energy going, well, I could run, but if I do that, then I'm going to be late for this meeting. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And you spin this cycle that it's just so much easier when I open up Training Peaks and that workout is there. And it's like, okay, that's what I'm doing today. Like, there's no debate about it.
The easy answer is always to say, well, work on your limiters at this time of year, right? But that requires even more motivation, right? Because you don't enjoy it as much. Mm-hmm. So if you don't feel like doing that, or if you just don't want to motivate yourself currently to work on your limiters, at least stay with your strengths, do the things you enjoy, because that's important. You're doing this as a hobby. It's not a job. So do it because you enjoy it. And then there's a lot of cross-training opportunities from skiing, so cross-country skiing, skate skiing, doing different events and trying that, trail hiking even, right, with weight on and things like that, rucking. There's all kinds of different events in the meantime that people can do that keeps them aerobically connected.
What is your opinion on CrossFit?
CrossFit, I love it, actually. A lot of people are always surprised when they hear me say that. And that is because a good 6-8 week cycle of CrossFit is incredibly impactful.
I've never done it. Somebody's knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Should I go answer it? Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. We're taking a pause. Hi. Do you want ice?
I think we're good now.
Okay, thank you.
Never been asked for ice before.
No. Yeah. Well, it's because you weren't recording a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was nothing to interrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's interesting. So you're a fan and a supporter of CrossFit. I've never done CrossFit before.
Well, I think the format needs to be an 8-week cycle, 6-week cycles as they build and progress you through a good, strong cycle. But then the challenge that I have with CrossFit, and a lot of them have gotten a lot better with this because they're aware of that, and that is then to phase off for 3, 4, 5 weeks so that your body can absorb the work and the stress it went through to get stronger. And then 3, 4 weeks of maintenance, real lighter load, even going into some endurance stuff that we do, and then go back for another 6, 8 weeks. Now, there's memberships, and the gyms aren't structured like that when you come in, we're going to start a 6-week program for you. But there is plenty of knowledge and experience and great trainers out there who can set that up for you.
Yeah, I think it's important that whoever's running the CrossFit box that you go to knows what they're talking about. And I think you also have to know yourself, because it's easy to get caught up in the enthusiasm of the crowd and the support, which is amazing.
And that's the biggest part. We are in a sport that is very alone, right? And so if you have an opportunity to motivate yourself with other athletes in a gym or in a box or with a master swim program or anything where you can just be around other people and having fun and get to know people, it's huge, because we spend so many hours out there alone during the season. This is the time of year to start building those friendships and those support groups to get you out there or to the gym.
I think just start slow, though.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty easy to get hurt in CrossFit.
Yep. There's usually a PT place very close to every CrossFit gym. And there's cards on the wall everywhere. Yeah, it's been
So what else about the off season do we need to keep in mind?
Well, you want to understand that also, speaking of me here, when you get sick, you have to listen to your body, right?
You got to take your own medicine, your own advice.
I just got done with being sick, and I'm surprised how shelled it left me. I even jumped back into the pool, and I'm like, I was out of the pool for a week. How bad can it be? I would say about 1,500 yards in, I started losing my energy, and all of a sudden, I was swimming practically backwards. I had to get out of the swim practice the other day and go to the bathroom.
When was the last time you did that?
It's been years since I've actually done the excuse of, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to take a breather. So it really surprised me. It really knocked me down. But I also needed to recognize, like, you need to take a couple of days and really go easy and not expect to jump right back in, because it could leave me either sick again or injured.
Mm-hmm. What is your sort of take on the experience that we had in Sweden now that some months have passed? Like, looking back on that experience.
Well, it was obviously amazing. I had a blast doing it with you. Now knowing it and understanding it better, and we said this from the very beginning, of course there's things that we would want to train differently and apply differently. So I think that's the main takeaway. I would love to go back and really get our asses kicked, right? Yeah. Where we're really just snots flying out of our nose going that hard the whole way. And I think we're totally capable of that and be fun. So from that perspective, but I'm not also that competitive about it anymore. A lot of people have asked me, well, do you want to go back? Is this the thing now? And that's exactly the answer I don't want to give, because sure, you can go back every year and try to improve and sort of do the Ironman thing again. But I've been saying, I feel like I have a few more years left to really do some wacky adventures before I got to start slowing down, right? Or my body will start telling me to slow down. And so Attilo taught me there's so many adventures out there that we can still attack and have fun with and experience and become smarter, better, deeper athletes from, that I want to explore those now.
You should. I mean, it would be fun to go back knowing what we learned and preparing a little bit better, than at least speaking for myself, than I did last year. But it's not like, I have to do that. Yeah. I don't feel that.
We're still not going to win.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're still participating. Of course, we want to be respectable, but again, there's so much adventure out there to be found and to experience and immerse ourselves into, that it just opened a door of exciting new opportunities.
I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think you need to do Ultraman.
Yeah.
You got to do it. And you only have, you could probably do it when you're 55 and win it, but I think you've got a couple years right now where you're in the position to walk into that race and do some damage. I mean, you could certainly win that race. I know it's a huge time commitment to prepare for something like that, but as somebody who's done that race, and obviously you're the person who shepherded me through that, it's a really extraordinary, beautiful event, and I think you would love it, and I think you would crush it.
Yeah. Well, if you'll be my crew.
I'll crew for you. Yeah, there's no question about it. I would crew for you for that.
It's one of those adventures that I have on the 2018 idea list. Okay. I'm putting in for Norseman, which is next week, the general entry. So that should be fun if I do get in. Go back to Scandinavia and cold weather. But the interesting thing there, it would fit on a progression even towards Ultraman if the back end of next year becomes that.
Yeah, because I think you still, the way it stands right now, you still have to do another Ultraman to go to the Hawaii Ultraman.
Yeah, well, they also have wild card entries.
Oh, they do? They do. Okay, I wasn't sure if they still have that. Yeah. What else is on that bucket list? 2018.
There's a couple of super long ultra runs that I've been also introduced to from my athletes. So anything in the Alps, Italy, and things like that, where 3-4 day, 5-day multi-stage ultra running events. That's starting to become interesting because, again, it just makes
Trans-Rockies, is that?
Well, that's a team thing in the U.S., but in Europe you have a bunch of...
There's an Alps version.
Yeah, exactly. Alps version. I've gotten into with a few athletes with Marathon des Sables now. And while the desert isn't sort of my thing, I like the heat. I think there's other adventures that I would prefer multi-day. But it's also learning again the nutrition and the fueling for what you have to pack yourself and how you start working your body down to understanding exactly what it needs for so many hours a day, and then the sleep and the recovery. I mean, diving into it with these athletes has been great. It's such an adventure to be a part of.
Have you trained athletes for MDS before?
Yeah.
You have?
Once, about 8 years ago. And I was a rookie with it, and he was too. And he finished, and he had a great experience. But it's more now having some people who are competitive in it, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's a really cool event.
Yeah.
Someday, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Here we go. Here we go. Now we're talking.
Well, I have a little adventure that's possibly on the horizon, but I'm not. The guy who I might be doing this with has sworn me to secrecy for the time being, but I'm inching closer towards a possible event in the new year that I'm pretty excited about. And
since I sort of know what you're talking about, I think what's really interesting about it, again, it's a new learning experience. It puts you into that growth place where you will, again, have a huge leap forward into what your understanding of your body, of your mind, and your environment is. Mm-hmm. And that'll be just, again, such a cool adventure.
Yeah, it's about as different from Otillo as it possibly could be, and I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. But I'll report back soon on whether it's going to happen or not.
Yeah, that'll be a different coach's corner.
Yes, very, very different. Cool, man. Well, I think, in thinking about how we enter into the winter months and stay fresh and stay engaged and excited, speaking from my own personal experience as somebody who kind of got, a little bit out of shape over the last couple of years and then clawed my way back, it's so much more important to be consistent than it is to put in the huge days.
Yes.
And as we go into these darker months, to just remain engaged on some level so that you're doing something every day, or if not every day, most days, so that you're connected to your fitness. And if that's just a half an hour or 15 minutes or 45 minutes, that's fine, because the consistent application of that is much more important than, I didn't do the super long run or the this or the that, the impressive workout that looks good on Strava.
Yeah. And recognize 80% of you doing it as serious as the 100% of you is already really, really good at these times of the year. And don't be so hard on yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Sure, you don't want to slack off, but understand, there's an edge that I can take off. There's a place I can balance and feel really good, connected, not unfit, and still moving forward, and set those short-term goals. Those are key. Sort of saying, at the end of October, I want to achieve this.
Right.
At the end of November, I would like to still achieve this. And especially as we go into the holidays, the hard thing there is there's so much distraction. There's so many other things going on that make those goals a little bit simpler. But say, by January 1, I want to ride 100 miles at this time of year. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Or do 100 push-ups in 5 minutes. Something.
I think that's wise advice. What you don't want to do is be that guy or woman who wakes up on January 1st or January 2nd feeling like shit because you've just slacked off completely and let the whole thing go. And then go, okay, what am I going to do now? Like you just woke up from some crazy, food coma fever dream. Start doing it. Start just laying those little bricks now.
Yep. And even if you're not perfect, you're not looking for perfection through the holidays. You're looking to just remain somewhat connected, somewhat consistent, because we can rebuild it. You don't want to be too hard on yourself.
In touch with it still.
Exactly. We can rebuild it, but if we're taking 8 weeks off, it becomes challenging.
Mm-hmm. What else do we need to know? Thanksgiving's creeping up.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, Ultraman's creeping up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I haven't even been paying attention. I don't even know who's racing.
I don't
this
know.
year.
I know that the field is pretty impressive. I saw it a couple of weeks ago because I had an athlete point it out to me. But yeah, this is, again, just stay healthy, stay motivated, take the edge off, and be positive.
I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
For a brief, this might be our shortest Coach's Corner.
Yeah.
But it's good. Right
to the point. Just a corner.
All right. Well, will you come back soon? And we'll do this again.
Once we know.
I know.
what we're preparing for.
We don't need to. We probably will by then, though.
Yeah, but continue with the strength. Continue working on little things that you know were niggles last year. Mm-hmm. And again, we know you can run. We know you can cycle. We know you can swim. It's more about now working from the inside out.
It's been really good to be back on the bike. I rode the other day and I was like, oh, I actually like I can actually ride up this hill.
You felt like, the strength right away,
yeah,
too.
I felt it right away. And it felt really good to be back on the bike and engaged with it because it had been so long. You forget how much fun it is.
Yeah.
So that's been
good.
Cool.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah. Right now I am. Cool. Awesome, man. If you're digging on Chris, as always, at AIMP Coach on Twitter, and then AIMPcoaching.com and the Weekly Word podcast on iTunes.
Yeah.
And all good stuff, man.
Right
How
on.
many athletes are you coaching right now? This is the time of year where you re-up with people?
Yeah, but it's been pretty steady that I keep my stable of 50 athletes. That's what it's been for years now. Just right around there.
Good deal, man. Awesome. All right. Until next time.
Thank you.
Peace, plants, training. Cool.